Hey guys, Level Who here with a Battlefield 4 beta guide to the attack helicopter. The attack helicopter can be one of the most powerful weapons in the game, but not only do the pilot and gunner need excellent communication, the pilot can't be selfish. Before we get started, I'd recommend checking out my settings video. Having your mesh distance set as high as your system can tolerate will allow you to see 3D spots and enemies very far in the distance. In addition, setting your effects detail to high will make missile trails fuller, which will allow you to figure out who's shooting at you. For your loadout, there's not too much you get to customize in the beta, but I'd recommend sticking with gyro stabilizer over stealth as long as we're in it. Stealth, of course, increases the time it takes for enemies to lock onto you, which is good, but the biggest threat to the helicopter in the beta are guided RPGs. When you have stealth equipped, it makes differentiating between laser designation locks and stinger locks much harder. Currently, there is no notification that an RPG has been launched at you. Let's get to a few quick things in the pilot's heads-up display before we continue. I mentioned that the pilot and gunner need excellent communication to be successful. The very top box is the compass direction. You can use this to call out which direction you are wanting your gunner to look. In addition, you can use the box at the bottom to get a general idea of which direction the helicopter's main gun is pointed. I marked a couple other indicators to help you fly more smoothly. If you want to level the helicopter out, simply align the level bar with the center of the plus-shaped fixed crosshair. Notice the I-beam. We'll talk about that later. As a pilot, the first piece of offensive advice I can give you is about the heat seekers. If the enemy pilot is unaware, I usually try to make him panic into using his flares by maintaining my lock but not firing. If he does use his flares prematurely, it's best to stagger your heat seekers. Allow the first missile to be countered by his flares and then use the second to do actual damage. When it comes to using your rocket pods, the floating I-beam is fairly accurate. Position your target in the middle of the I-beam and then let your rockets fly. Currently, rockets against enemy helicopters seems to be bugged. Oftentimes, my rockets will go through the enemy chopper or even explode but do no damage. When playing aggressively, you can actually use the central skyscraper as cover from enemy stingers. I usually fly around it in what I call a circle of death. Keep your nose pointed at the skyscraper while you circle. This will allow you to maintain fire on your targets while using the building for cover from stingers. If you prefer to play more passively, you can hover using the third person to help spot targets for your gunner. Given the limited amounts of ammo on the gunner's primary weapon, maintaining a stable shooting platform will allow your helicopter to rack up the kills. Use the level bar to keep steady. You can also switch to your heat seekers to help you spot incoming hostile air targets. Orbit camping may no longer be possible because of the limited ceiling levels, but the medium range game that most competitive pilots use is still very much effective. Stingers have a horizontal range of about 500 to 550 meters, but they ignore height levels. I'd suggest either using the buildings for cover or using the gyro stabilizer to simply eat the stingers and then allow your gunner to shoot back. For the helicopter gunner, there's unfortunately not too much you can do in the beta. There aren't any gunner secondary weapons, so all you can rely on is your main cannon. I'd suggest saving your ammunition for helicopters and infantry and not wasting it on tanks or vehicles. One piece of advice I can give you is to fire once, then reload when you have a full magazine. This will allow your reserve ammunition to reload to 89 instead of the default 60. Got a question for me? Post it in the comments section below and I'll be sure to get back to you. If you are interested in watching the full clips of my gameplay, head over to my channel in the description below. Until next time, ba-bam-bam-ba-dam-bam!